Hey everyone, hope you're all well. Now hopefully you've come from my video showing you how to make this bunny hop bar kit, and hopefully you've followed my instructions and now have your very own one. Like I said in the last video, the logical thing to do next is to teach you how to bunny hop. I'm sure a lot of you already can bunny hop pretty well, but there's a few tips and tricks I reckon I can give just to get that extra height, get you maxing out your hops. But even if you can't bunny hop, hopefully some of these tips and tricks will help you just get your bike off the floor to begin with. So before we get onto the bar, get into the bigger heights, there's a few things I need to go through first. So the first one we're going to talk about, even before we even begin the first bunny hop, is bike setup. There's a couple of things which you can do to your bike that will make life a lot easier. If you're coming from a mountain bike background, maybe you're running SBDs or something like that, definitely get yourself a pair of flat pedals. They'll make life so much easier and it'll make you use the correct technique. I've seen a lot of people who use SBDs, they just rely on the literal attachment to the bike just to lift it up. But if you actually want to get the big hops, you're going to have to ditch the SBDs. The second thing is, if you are again on a mountain bike or you've come from a road background and you're running your seat high, slam the seat, get that seat as low as you can. You don't want it going up your arse, believe me. Third thing, tyre pressure. Now, you don't want your tyres too hard, you don't want your tyres too soft. If they're too hard, it makes your bike not respond to any of the preload you're going to put in it, and it'll ride like it's a lump of lead. On the flip side, if your tyres are too soft, you might get quite a lot of spring, but with some of these advanced techniques, you might be landing quite sideways and you will fold that tyre off the rim so easily if your tyres are too soft. As a guideline, I run my tyres between 40 and 45 psi. I found that to be the best mix of bounce and that stiffness, lack of folding. And my last tip, if you're from a trials background, often riders will run their bars quite far forward. That makes bunny hops so much harder, believe me. If you want to physically hop over a bar, then I'd say roll your bars back. As you can see, hopefully, my bars are almost in a direct angle as my head tube with the vertical part there. I find that to be the best compromise between ease of lifting up and still being able, good on the back wheel. But other than those tips, you can bunny hop on any bike. The gear ratio doesn't really matter that much. The height of the front end can affect it, but you can still bunny hop with a lower front end. All the tips and tricks are still exactly the same. You just may have to just pull up just that bit harder. So hopefully your bike is now fully suited to bunny hopping. Let's just talk you guys through some of the basics. Okay, for those of you who can already bunny hop, bear with me, I'm going to start at the very beginning here. Before you can lift both wheels up, you need to learn how to lift the front wheel, and that technique may look familiar to a lot of you. I see it so often when people try to lift the front wheel, they literally just lift the bars up towards the chest. The one tip I give everyone with every type of trick that you need to do on a trials bike is you need to make your body do it first. So you can see here, if I want my front wheel to come up, you really need to move your body to make it happen. So slowed down and in detail, the best way to lift the front wheel is to ride with your weight forward, then shift your weight down and back over the rear axle while snapping up on the handlebars with your arms. If you drop your heels at the same time, it'll just get that weight even further over the rear axle. And one last time, take note of what my body's doing. Before I'm even lifting the front wheel, my body's starting to move. You've got to lead with your body and the bike will follow after that. So preload and lift. With practice, you'll find the preload becomes less and less as the body becomes more efficient with the movements. Alright, well hopefully you've mastered the front wheel. Now it's a tricky one. Getting the back wheel off the floor without using that front brake. So here's an example, one direction and the other direction. It's usually the back foot which is doing most of the work. I'll get some slow-mos of these now for you. So the key to lifting up the back wheel is all down to your feet. This is a really tricky technique that some people just can't get their heads around. I've slowed it down even more here. To put it simply, the motion in your feet is a down, back and up. As you can see, just before I lift the back end up, I do a little push down on the pedals just to preload the tyres on the bike. And don't forget to move your body as well. To lift the back wheel up, you have to move your weight forwards. A good test you can do to make sure you're using the right technique is just with one foot on the floor, get your back foot and see if you can lift up the back wheel and even both wheels at the same time by using that down, back and up technique with your foot. You're also pushing slightly against the handlebars to create a tension between your feet and your arms. Now this is something I see a lot of people do who've just learned bunny hops, and that's lifting both wheels at exactly the same time, known as an English bunny hop. One of the main disadvantages of an English bunny hop is you have to take off where your front wheel is, travel all the distance to let your back wheel past before you can land. It's a lot harder to go high if you've got to cover all that distance. The best technique is known as the American hop, where you lift the front wheel and then the rear wheel independently, shortening the distance you have to travel and the time you're in the air. To do an American bunny hop, it's a case of just combining the two tips I've already shown you, using your arms and body weight to lift the front and then your feet and body weight to lift the back wheel. I've slowed down a bunny hop here and exaggerated the moves. You roll along, weight slightly forward, shift the weight back while lifting on the bars, lift up with your feet while pushing forward on the handlebars. That gets your back wheel extra height. And here you can see, going over a bar, the timing that's needed, lifting the front wheel and then the back wheel. You can see the time in the air is very minimal and it's a lot less effort than lifting both wheels at the same time. Once the bar starts to get higher, all the principles are exactly the same. It's just you have to lift harder and quicker and get the timing absolutely perfect. Okay, here's a slow-mo of another angle. The higher the bar goes, the faster you need to hit it. I'm looking at the bar, lift the front wheel, weight back, lift the back wheel, push the bars forward, stay loose for the landing, and hopefully you've done a nice bunny hop. Okay everyone, I'm going to show you two different techniques here. I've raised the bar up a little bit. This first one might look familiar to a lot of you. Number one and number two. Now can you tell the difference in those two? Let's have a closer look. Okay, here's the first technique, slowed down. This is how 90% of people hop. And freeze frame, you can see my arse is directly above the rear wheel. Like I said, this is how 90–95% of people bunny hop. The disadvantage with this way is you're limited by your rear wheel. Once you get higher, you start to hit your arse on the rear tire and it seriously limits how high you can go. Okay, so this next technique is the most important one if you want to get the height. So everything's exactly the same at the start of a hop, but if we freeze it here, you'll see my arse is now to the side of the back tire. With this technique, it's called the tuck, and if you can let the bike come up to the side of you, it will add so much to the max height of your hops. The other thing which I do, which I think is a bit weird, is I drop my right elbow and raise my left elbow. I've seen other people tuck and they don't do this with their arms, so I don't think it's vital, so just work out what's best for you. Okay, now that you've impressed all your mates and your girlfriend or boyfriend of how high you can go, let's start to get the bar really high. It's worth bearing in mind that the higher the hop, the further back you need to initiate the hop. If you start too close to the bar, you're going to knock it off of your front wheel and look like an idiot. Okay, so I've moved the bar up to about 115 now, and I'm still getting my tuck on, but at this point timing is vital. As you can see here, this is what happens when the timing goes completely wrong. So here's that timing so badly wrong in slow motion. Essentially, I just shifted my weight too far forward, too soon, hit the front wheel, and like I said, I look like an idiot. Okay, so I've moved the bar up now, it's about 120 centimeters. This is getting close to my personal best. So here it is in super slow-mo, just for you guys to study if you want to. And I'll break this down bit by bit and hopefully try to explain it in the most detail I can. So firstly, the preload. This is the point where you want to put in the biggest preload with the most effort you can. That will get you the biggest lift from the very start. The front wheel lift. Other than the tuck, this is one of the most important parts of a big hop. The faster and harder you can lift the front wheel, the higher the bike will go. The rear wheel lift. Once the front wheel's been lifted as high as it will go, it's time to lift up the rear wheel with pretty much exactly the same technique as I showed at the start of the video. Once the back wheel's left the floor, push on the bars and get into the tuck. You just let the back wheel come up to the side of you. It's a bit of a weird sensation if you've never done it before, and I'd recommend if you're right foot forward, let the back wheel come up onto the right hand side of your body. If you're left foot forward, do the opposite. Reason being that if you want to do 180s over the bar, being able to tuck on the correct side of the bike will really help with that. If you've come from a pure trials background or competition trials background, you may find it unnatural to tuck to this side, but believe me, it will be worth learning it this way if you want to spin correctly. You can practice the tuck technique just track standing on the floor or leaning your bike against a wall, just getting down to the side of the bike and getting used to how it feels. Hopefully you've now made it over the bar. Last thing to do is extend those legs, brace for impact. Remember to be loose on the bike so you don't land like a sack of bricks. Once you're over, turn around, make sure everyone saw it. Make sure that you've got an Instagram clip just to prove you've done it, and then be happy you've got a high hop. And here it is one more time from another angle. Get to see quite how sideways I get the bike and how tucked I am as well. Right, let's do this one more time from the front in super slow-mo through the tips again. So you got the preload, you got the front wheel lift, the rear wheel lift, the push and the tuck, then extend for landing, and finally gloat. So there you go guys. I hope some of those tips helped you. To recap, it's all about the timing. Doing an American bunny hop rather than an English one, setting off the correct distance away from the bar, and the most important for the really big ones is getting to the side of the bike. Because like I said, if you go straight off the back, you're going to get limited by, firstly, the tyre hitting you in the arse, and secondly, the distance you have to travel. By going sideways, you effectively shorten the amount of time you're actually going over the bar, and it makes it a lot easier. Don't worry about what bike you've got, just any bike will do to learn bunny hops. Obviously, a bike like this will make it easier, but you can learn the basics on any bike, and it'll actually help you in the long run by learning on a harder bike. If you didn't see the video on how to make my bunny hop bar, click the link up there. And if you really like this video, go check out my other videos, click the button up there to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Please post in the comments, go check out my social media, and get out, be fluent on your bikes, and yeah, good luck with the bunny hops. Catch you later guys.